Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made this card. I posted this one to my blog the other day and I was asked if I could show how I made it. When I did this one, a couple of changes I made. One, I used a crumb cake card base. This one has Whisper White, and the first layer on this one it's cherry cobbler, and on this one it was garden green. So the card that I'm going to do now, I'm going to use the Whisper White card base and the layer is going to be cherry cobbler. Okay, so I've like same colours but just mixing it up a little bit. So let's start off with the card pieces that you're going to be needing. So the Whisper White card base is 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches, scored and folded at 4 1/8. That's 21 centimetres by 14.5 centimetres, scored and folded at 10.5. And then there's a layer of cherry cobbler which measures 4 inches by 5 5/8 inches, which is 10.25 by 14.25 centimetres. Then the top layer, which is crumb cake 3 7/8 by 5 1/2 inches, which is 10 by 14 centimetres. And for all our die cuts and our stamping, you will need a piece of garden green that measures approximately 5 1/2 inches by 5 1/2 inches, which is 14 by 14 centimetres. A piece of crumb cake which measures approximately 4 1/2 inches by 2 inches, which is 11.5 by 5 inches, 5 centimetres, sorry, I'll say that again, 11.5 centimetres by 5 centimetres. A piece of Whisper White for the sentiment, which measures 3 inches by 2 1/2 inches, which is 7.5 by 6.5 centimetres. And finally a piece of cherry cobbler that measures 3 1/2 inches by 2 1/2 inches, which is 9 by 6.5 centimetres. Now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do all the stamping first and then I'll do the die cutting. So that's die cutting, that's die cutting, that's stamping, stamping, stamping. Right, okay, let's move these ones out of the way for the time being. So first of all, the background here, I've used what I call a mini background stamp, which is in the Pinecone stamp set, which is called Christmas Pines. The stamps that I'll be using out of this set are those two there, and the sentiment, and this is what I call the little background stamp. So I've already got my stamp mounted up and I'm going to be using Crumb Cake ink. Let's just get myself a scrap of paper. On the side of this stamp there's almost a square corner there. This one's got like a leg sticking out of it, so I concentrate on this because this is the bit that I find makes it easier to fill up across the card. Okay, so I've got the square bit that side, so the bit with the leg can go off. And then I'm going to turn it upwards so the leg is pointing up. I'm not overly fussy about this, but I do like to get a good selection of the stars in there because I go over them with a little white gel pen to give it a little bit of depth. Right, let's turn that back round again so I get my corner. And again, to put the leg in the air. And then finally for this corner, which as it's the last one, I can turn right the way round. There we go. So pop those out of the way. We don't need that now. Now to do the stars, as I say, I do use a little gel pen. I did try using our white chalk pen, but I found the white wasn't quite bright enough for what I wanted. So I just go and put a little white circle in the centre of all. Not sure whether they're stars or snowflakes. I think I prefer to think of them as snowflakes. But as the saying goes, whatever. This is one of those minor little details that adds quite a bit to a card. There we go, nearly done. I think that's got all of them. Right, so I'll pop that there. And then for the pine cones, I've tried these with several different colours. And I don't know quite how well you see this colour on screen. Obviously these are all on crumb cake because that's what I'm working with. This one is early espresso. This is chocolate chip. And this is soft suede. All of these three colours have been stamped off once. Now I'm going to be doing early espresso so you can see exactly what I mean. And then this one down here is crumb cake, but that's not been stamped off at all. Okay. The soft suede and the crumb cake look more or less the same. So with these two stamps, there's one of them that is like one's a diamond and one's a triangle, and I'm going to do the triangle one first, which is that one. And as I say, I'm going to be using early espresso, and that means I'm going to be stamping off. So I need my scrap of paper again. Now let's make sure you can see this bit. I'm making sure that I get a good amount of ink on here, and then when I stamp it off, I'm only just gently tapping it. I'm not giving it a good hard push because I still want this to be as dark as possible. Okay, so it's just a little stamp off. And then a good press on the crumb cake. Again, ink it up really nicely. A little gentle stamp off there. Then a good press onto here. As you can see, it doesn't come up very dark, but it does give enough colour. It gives it just about a nice amount of colour. Gentle stamp off. Okay, so that's that one done. Now with this one, because we've got these triangles here, it's very easy to line this up over the top. Not sure that I could be able to show you this. Can you see what I'm talking about? I have my beautiful new screen in front of me now, but we haven't been able to get the colour right, so I can't really see what you can see. Anyway, what I'm going to do, exactly the same, I'm going to make sure I get plenty of ink, stamp it off gently, and I'm going to line up so that I've got the triangles at the top of the diamonds, and without getting my head too far forward. I think that's okay. I have already done the pine cones. Oh, that's not too bad. Another thing about doing these, where you look at this and you think, well, that's not very good, once you've die cut it, these bumpy bits at the edge don't really notice. So don't discard them unless they really are way out. And way out to me means that it looks fuzzy. And if you ever do that, you'll know exactly what I mean. No, that one's okay as well. Sort of hoping that it goes wrong. But I can't deliberately do something wrong. Okay, I think that's quite close to the edge of the screen, but I didn't want to get my head too far forward. Oh yes, that one's way out. Okay, that's this one at the end here. But I will still die cut that before I throw it away, just in case it does still look reasonably okay. Plus the fact I quite often overlap my pine cones like this, so that side that doesn't look very nice, it may get covered up, so not liking to throw anything away, I will still give that one a try. So I will die cut one of those. That's my die cut, isn't it? And then the last bit of stamping I need is to do the sentiment. Now this is the bit that was a real challenge. When I first did this, I did all the colours on my stamp. I did the green first and then the red and then the crumb cake, and when I stamped it, it didn't come out at all well, because what happened was the colour had started pooling in the middle. It was like going into little puddles, if you like, and left blank bits. This is what it came up like. Okay, you can see where the ink has gone into a little like puddle bit and done one bit but left the surrounding part of it. So to combat that, what I did was one colour at a time, and I used my marker pens, and I'll start off with garden green and make sure that I have one of these. It's one of our blender pens, and these are absolutely brilliant. If you get any ink onto a part that you don't want it to be, you can lift it off with this. Again, I can't deliberately do it, but I'm sure I will get something at some stage in the wrong place. So I'm doing of comfort and. Now I think the reason it doesn't pool when I do one colour at a time, I think it's because it's not leaving it too long. I think when I do all of the colours together, obviously it takes quite a bit longer, and I think that's when the pooling starts. When I say pool, I mean P-O-O-L, rather than pulling as in pushing, pulling and pushing. Now, you wouldn't be able to do this with a clear mount or a wood mount, although you may be able to do it if you did it with a Stampin' Jig. But this works brilliantly because you can see through the stamp. Okay, so that's this all inked up. The other beauty of these photopolymers is when you turn it over you can see whether or not you've got ink everywhere you want ink to be. Okay, so that's that. Just stamp that in the centre. Now don't give it a really, really hard push, just a good firm push. Okay, so far so good. So let's put that one away. Now we need, try using the right top. Now we need to clean the stamp so that we can use the next colour. And this should be wet because I've been using it all afternoon. Not wet enough. Let's put some more spray on here. And that was just 3 little sprays. There we go. Far too much. 1 spray would have been enough, I think. But at least it will make the stamp really nice and clean. Okay, so now I'm going to do the red. I can see that I've got a little bit of green there and a couple of places here, but I think that will get covered up as I do the red. So red is going to be Joy, which is this bit here. And then Tidings. Let's just go over the Joy again. I doubt if it started to dry yet, but just make sure. Oh, I can see where I've got some red on here as well. I've got it on the F there, on the comfort. So if I lift that and then clean my brush. Okay. So all the time you're working, just keep checking that you haven't gone somewhere where you don't want that particular colour to go. Right, now all I'm going to do is I'm going to line the comfort up with the comfort on there. So I may well get my head in the camera here. Can I come down a little bit? Now this doesn't have to be absolutely precise, because it's not as if this has to join on with the green writing. It's just above and below. Again, a firm push, but don't do it too hard. There we go. Now I'm going to, in fact you can just about see, I don't know whether you're going to see this. Yes, you can see it. Look how the pattern has come on there. And you can also see it a little bit on that side as well. So that indicates that my pad needs cleaning. It's suggesting that this isn't cleaning very well. Which is going to be a bit of a challenge, because it now means that that part of the stamp I have got to match up, otherwise it's going to look as if it has a shadow. Oh well. Let's see. If this doesn't work out properly, I do have another one that I made earlier, just in case. Right, okay. At least you're getting the idea of what you need to do. So now I'm just doing the two pattern parts here. Okay, so there's that little like squiggly bit there. And the other part is at the beginning of Comfort, and it's just like little sprays. It's like a little spray of water. Okay. Right, let's see if we can get this into place now. Unfortunately, I can't see that pattern. So I don't stand a chance of actually lining that up. Okay, let's see what happens here. Wow. That is not bad at all. That's certainly good enough for me to use. I am happy with that. I mean, after all, it is a handmade stamp, so I don't expect perfection from myself, which is just as well because I never get it. Right, okay, now I think that's all the stamping I need to do, isn't it? That, and that. Okay, now the die cutting. Let's get my big shot up. Right, so the things I'm die cutting, first of all I need the scalloped circle. But let's turn that over. Oh, that's better. And then I want the straight cut circle for my sentiment. And I just want to make sure that I'm not actually cutting off any of these bits. They do come very close to the edge, but they don't come right up over the edge rather. And the dies that I'm using for these are the Layering Ovals Framelits dies, and you get a complete set of straight cuts and a complete set of scallop. And for the dies for the cones, pine cones, they're called Pretty Pines Thinlits, and you've got various dies in there. So, right, these are they. Okay, so for the actual cone, in fact I'll come back for the ferns because I think that's pushing my luck a bit to put so much in there. Where's the iffy one? There's two. That was the one, wasn't it? That was the last one. Let's see what that looks like once it's die cut. Right. Make sure nothing has moved. Okay, so first of all, our scalloped layer. And then our straight cut oval. And then our pine cone. Doesn't look particularly good, but if that bit got covered up then it would be alright. Okay, so that one doesn't hit the bin yet. As I say, I've already done mine, so that's fine. So the other part that I need to do are the fern leaves, and what I do is I do one of each. There are 3 in the set, and it looks as if I've been a little bit over generous with the sizes that I've given you for the size of the garden green that you would need. Far too generous, but I only give you the measurements as a guide. Right, with this one now, I do go through and bring it back. Right, and then before I try removing them from the paper, I just turn them over to make sure that they have cut okay. Now those haven't, and I think it was because I had it too close to this edge. Let me just try that again. Okay, let's have a look. I think that's much better. Right, we don't need this. What I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to take it out by using our Sizzix die brush. So first of all, they should come out really nicely, like that. Okay, and you need to do 2 each of all of these for this card. And then just go along with your die brush. And you'll find that will come out very easily. Okay, do be careful with it though, because it would be quite easy to pull any of those little, I suppose they're called fronds, aren't they, on a fern? Right, there we go, there's another one. And then a third one. Okay, so that was nice and easy to get those off. Right, so now I think all we need to do is put our card together. Normally what I do is I put my Wink of Stella, I don't know if you can see that, yes you can, I've got it on the fern and also on the pine cones. I normally do that once it's on here, when I'm making a card for the first time, because I don't know until after I've finished the card whether I want to have Wink of Stella on it. But now that I'm doing one that I know what the design is like, I paint the Wink of Stella first. So that is what I have already done here. Okay, just to save a little bit of time. So those can be saved to another project. Those are okay. Can you see that I've already done all of those with Wink of Stella? Yes, I think you can, can't you? But the other thing that I wanted to show you with this was, if you want to save a bit of time and you do all 3 at the same time, but you don't really want the long one, you just trim it off, which is what I've done here. This is a long, no, this one is the long one, and I've just trimmed part of the back off, which is what that part is. That was my leftover. So you can save yourself a bit of time. Okay, it costs you a bit extra in paper, in the cardstock, but not much. Depends what's more important to you, a bit of cardstock or the time. So I'm just going to put my sentiment onto my scalloped oval using Tombow. You can use whichever is your preference with the glue. So there's that. And I'm going to bring my crumb cake layer back and I'm going to adhere it to my cherry cobbler. Again, my preference is Tombow. Now we need a piece of ribbon to go around the centre, and to do this, I've already done this to remind myself how to do it. If I can just reach my small ruler, what you need to do is to measure up 2 inches, which is 5 centimetres, okay, and a pencil mark. Do the same that side. And then, where's my silicone mat? Oh, here it is. So what I'm going to do with my ribbon is just put some fast fuse on both ends. And then I know that the edge of, if I get the 2 inches at the bottom here, then I know the bottom of my ribbon goes above that pencil mark, because this is a little bit up, and the reason it's a little bit up rather than halfway through is because this bit is much bigger than the decoration on that side. Okay, so that goes across there. Okay, so that should be about right. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is put this one onto my card base, again, Tombow. Also some extra on the ribbon. There we go. Now I'm going to put my sentiment on here, and I'm going to put some dimensionals. I'm going to put 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, so that the ribbon goes in between the dimensionals. Does that look straight to you? Doesn't to me. 3.5. That's that line there. Just above. Slightly out, isn't it? Amazing, isn't it? I can measure things so that I get straight lines and I still get them crooked. Right, let's just pop this in the centre. Just make sure that yep, that's going over either side of the ribbon. So all we need to do now are these pieces. So what I'm going to do is, I think I use one small and one medium. So that was a small one. That's right. So again, Tombow. on, Tombo, start working. That's better. I'm going to leave the few in the middle there because that's where it's going to be going over the ribbon. The reason I leave it when it's going over ribbon is because I'm not really sure that such a small amount of glue is going to do anything except possibly leave a mark, which I'd really rather it doesn't. It didn't. Right. Okay, so that one can come down there. And then this one, which is going to miss the ribbon totally. Then I'd like to aim that so it comes up to the sentiment. That one's coming a bit further, but that's okay. And I don't allow this to come right down into the corner because where I have my fur cone, I don't want green to be showing below it. And again, I'm going to use dimensionals for this. One top, one bottom. And then I'm going to do one like that, one like that, keeping them away from this corner, and then this one, a big one, which I'm going to be doing down there, but I don't want it coming all that way, so I'm going to just cut some off so that you can see that it does actually work. Okay, so let's do the top one first. That one I forgot to leave a space with the ribbon, but never mind. And this one comes up over the sentiment as well. But avoids the ribbon. Okay, so that comes up something like that. And then the last one, I lay it down along the bottom there. And that won't be anywhere near ribbon. Oops. Going right in between all of these now. Slow down. There we go, that'll be fine. Okay. So again, making sure I've kept all of that free there. So the first one I'm going to do with 2 dimensionals. And then the second one I know needs 1 full, and then on this side it just needs a little half of a dimensional. So let's just take a little bit off of the edge here. That's going to go there, and then on this bit, because it's going to be overlapping that, I want to put a glue dot on it, which are here. Okay. So this one comes over this direction first, and then this one goes about there. So the glue dot's just under there, and I've got the dimensionals. So there we go. There's today's card. Now we can have a look, see which one we prefer with how the colour scheme's gone. So that's the red with the crumb cake, this is the red with the white background, and this is the green with the white background. I think possibly the red with the red, I don't know. But whatever, I think it's a nice card. I'm quite happy with the design of that. Many thanks for watching my video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment in the box below, or send me an email to janb@janbcards.com. I'm always very happy to help you. If you'd like to purchase any of the products that I featured here, if you click on the link in the box below, that'll take you to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. All the measurements and the products that I've used will be on the screen. If you're watching on a device that doesn't display that, it will be all in the box below. The box is concealed behind where it says show more. Just click on that and it'll all open up for you. All the information will be there. If you've enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button. And finally, I am looking to build my team of like-minded people, Stampin' Up demonstrators. If you'd like to know about being a hobbyist or a business builder, please contact me again, janb@janbcards.com, and I'll be happy to explain to you exactly what's involved. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.